3 years since Putin launched his so-called
специальной военной операции.
and Ukraine is still a war zone.
This school would have once been bustling with activity, but today it stands in ruins. You were upstairs.
Yeah.
You heard gunfire.
I heard the gunfire and I heard the shattering as well.
Air raid alert. Proceed to the nearest shelter.
So last night we had a drone attack.
Donald Trump's return to the White House has flipped the US's stance on its head.
It's a war that would have never happened if I was president. Putin would have never, ever done it. I have the power to end this war, and I think it's going very well.
The political situation is moving very quickly. Donald Trump described Ukraine's President Zelensky as a
Dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast or he's not going to have a country left. Gotta move fast.
The end to the war may be on the horizon, but the big question is, at what cost?
It was a late one last night. You could hear heavy gunfire in the city. We've only been here a matter of days, but it's exhausting to have to continually go to shelters, and it's hard to think what it's like for people who live here in the city.
Sometimes it could be a bit stressful for us.
Anastasia lives in Zaporizhzhia. The city is about 25 miles from the front line. The region of the same name is split in two, partly occupied by Vladimir Putin's forces. People here have endured a lot. Just last month, attacks on only one day left 13 civilians dead and over 100 wounded.
The drones, they fly just above the houses, and sometimes it happens just above the place where I live. So I can see fireworks every day. I feel sorry for elderly people who don't have anyone to support them. I feel sorry for kids who don't have their childhoods. They just hear these explosions, drones flying.
I've come to this city to get a sense of how people are coping and to witness life somehow surviving in the shadow of this brutal war's front line. The scars of conflicts never seem far away here. Another building stands in ruins, victim to a different strike in January. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky shared his disgust at the attack that killed one and left dozens injured.
We're just heading east out of the city into the region to visit two makeshift mobile medical centres where people get help for the type of treatment that is sometimes hard to find in a war zone. Last night in the city there were drones.
Yes, so last night we had a drone attack. So there were 3 impacts in the city, in the residential area, and the rest of the drones were luckily intercepted by the air defense system. But I heard them overflying the guest house where I live.
As troops fight just miles away, a different battle is being waged to help their stricken comrades.
The blast injuries, the polytrauma, and
What trauma, sorry?
trauma, like you can have someone with like multiple fractures on the body, and then you have to decide which one to do first and then the next one.
And these are people coming in because they've been injured in attacks on the city?
In the attacks, yes. Yeah. So mainly we've done soldiers with, you couldn't tell, is it a bone, is it going to be fixed? And then once they arrange all the bones, they go, and then,
Sorry, forgive me.
Attention. Air raid alert. Proceed to the nearest shelter. Don't be careless. Your overconfidence is your...
Another day in stricken Ukraine, another air alert. Most here barely bat an eyelid. More than 1,000 days since Russia's full-scale invasion, war rumbles on, and the injured keep coming. Vasil was one of those hurt in recent attacks in Zaporizhzhia. He recalled the horror at the factory where he works in security. At first, he didn't understand what had happened. Then, he saw his leg twisted the other way, being held together by the muscles. He has already had 5 operations. There will be more. Along the corridor, in another room, jewellery maker Ruslan is another victim of the war.
So he was standing in the street after work, like lots of people, having a cigarette. And then the next thing, he wakes up in hospital.
Recovery has been a long road. He has had 4 surgeries and due to have a 5th. At another hospital, Alexander is learning to walk again. The widower had to have his leg amputated after being hurt in an attack in Mariupol 5 days into the war in 2022. Alexander shared how he has learned to look at life differently and appreciate it. He plans to learn to walk as soon as possible. UK Med, a British charity providing healthcare in some of the most dangerous spots in the world, is helping in the city. Jay Matthews from Staines is one of those who have deployed to Zaporizhzhia for the organisation.
When you were upstairs,
Yeah.
you heard gunfire.
I heard the gunfire and I heard the shattering as well, yeah.
But on his first night in the city, he had a lucky escape.
So Jay, this is a new door
Yes.
that's in, but the old door, but it came straight through it.
Yeah, so it's about this height. It came straight through and through the glass pane you can see here that's broken, and then following through to the cupboards at the back of the wall there.
So you've got a small hole here in the cupboard, you can see.
Yeah, we opened it up, and at the back of the wall you can see where it dented in.
And the bullet you found was in back there.
Yeah, so this is the bullet I found. You can sort of see where the tip of it's been dented once it stopped.
It's not small, is it?
No, it's quite a large bullet. Rather glad that no one was near it or touched by it.
Lucky escape, fool.
We visit one village only about 20 miles from the front line where war has left its mark. You don't hear children laughing here anymore, we are told.
We're about 20 miles from the front line with Russia. Behind me, this school would have once been bustling with activity. Children playing, laughing, living. But today, it stands in ruins.
Not far away, a Ukrainian great-grandmother bursts into song.
Ой, ти струмочку, срібна водице, буду чекати.
Her angelic folk tune carries a message filled with love,
Солов'ї.
an antidote to the nearby hell. We find the school's head teacher. Her home, closer to the front line, is no more. The family was forced to flee after the outbreak of the full-scale invasion. They now stay at a friend's property. The courage she has shown in the face of horror is remarkable.
I presume that she wants to go home.
Like others, she just wants peace. In another village, a little girl carefully colours in a heart as her mum, Elena, paints a picture of the reckless evil of war.
So she's saying that it's really tough times for now, because when the war started, they had multiple explosions nearby, and the main problem is her daughter. So she's afraid and scared of everything happening.
5-year-old Anastasia's tender age means she has hardly known a life any different. Another woman turned up just to tell us her story. She wants the world to know.
This is the reality, and how they had to manage the situation. So they had to leave their hometown where they had everything, but they had to leave it and just go somewhere to find another place to live. This is the truth. This is the reality of our people there.
She told us how her family sheltered with others in a hospital basement after the war's outbreak.
He's up there in the basement from the first days of the war.
So it was the whole family was sleeping down here. So it must be so difficult to live in a basement like that. So their whole life is down there.
Only 100 children were there in that basement.
100 children in the basement?
Yes.
Living there?
This is her son, younger son. So it's 14 years old.
He's only 14.
Nadia, the secretary of the village council, has heard about Trump's dictator comments. She has another view.
So she's saying that, she heard about that, but she didn't really understand how Zelensky could be a dictator. She's really glad that he was elected to be a president, because everyone, they do love him.
And she has a message for the US president.
He would like to invite him to Ukraine to speak with local people who suffer, not with the Putin, trying to find a way how to find the solution of in the war, but to speak with the people who are really there, who are suffering all the time.
If Trump did visit, he would bear witness to extraordinary fortitude. As young children learn under their teacher's watchful eye, it could be any classroom. But these pupils are 23 foot underground, in the region's first purpose-built bunker school.
Yeah, that's a long way up. 7 meters. Crikey.
The kids are among hundreds who attend school number 88, opened by Zelensky in December. Astonishingly, the 14-classroom space was built in just 6 months. Aged from 6 to 16, children learn in shifts to make the most of it. There is even time for dancing. The children are grateful to be here. Our visit coincides with a day celebrating Ukraine's language, a reminder of the culture troops are fighting to defend. Teacher Vita has dressed up for the occasion. She tells us how her parents live close to the front line.
The attacks are going to this village, and it can be heard. The bombing and shelling can be heard.
The teacher, whose husband is in the Ukrainian army, becomes emotional as she recites a patriotic poem.
Можна я прокоментую словами: любіть Україну, весні наяву, вишневу свою Україну, красиві вічно живу і нову, і мову і рідну.
What? Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
We are keeping the Ukrainian traditions, she tells us,
Ми всі ці звичаї ми підтримуємо, ми
and trying to keep them.